Hey everybody, this is my red-clawed mangrove crab tank. I know that's a mouthful to say, but that's what I call this tank. And I just wanted to do a quick update. I was sitting here watching my angelfish in another tank. I got a little issue with them going on right now while I was sitting here. You will notice some little ghost shrimp down in the corner. I've actually seen 3 of them down there. There's all 3 of them right now. So I put 4, maybe 5 of them in the tank a few days ago, and by the next day I didn't see any, and I didn't see any for several days, and I didn't know what happened to them. The other fish that you can see right there is a little Endlers Guppy, and that's about the largest fish that's in the tank. And then of course the mangrove crabs, and I didn't really think that they would be too much of a threat to these little shrimp. So I was a little disappointed when they vanished. I hadn't seen them for several days, and then a couple days ago I saw one, and a day or two later I saw what I thought to be another one. It seemed a lot smaller than the one I had remembered seeing a day before, but with little animals like that I never count more than one unless I see them at the same time. So that's why I'm shooting this video, is I'm actually getting all 3 of them on camera. So there's at least 3 still alive in the tank, and if we look around we might get a glimpse of another one somewhere. There's definitely little hints and peaks of crabs here and there. There's one right there front and center. That one actually lives in that little cave underneath that rock it's excavated there for itself, so there's always a good chance of getting to see one right there. I also had somebody ask me today what temperature I keep this tank and whether or not the tank is heated. And the answer is no, it is not heated. I keep it at room temperature. These crabs should be between 75 and 80 degrees. They are a tropical animal. But I just took the temperature of the tank, and it's 73.6. It probably gets a little cooler than that overnight. As the light goes off, the temperature in the tank probably comes down, just like the temperature in the room goes down overnight once the lights in here go off and all the fish get shut down for the night. So it's usually about 70 degrees in the morning, and again by evening time here we're looking at 73, 74 degrees in there. So with the fish or crabs or whatever animal you're talking about, when you look at what their parameters are and it comes to something like temperature, the lower end range of these crabs is 75 degrees. 73.5 degrees is not going to hurt them at all. Even if it gets down to 70 at night and then warms back up to 72 during the day, that is outside the preferred ideal range, but it's not so far outside of it that it's really going to have that big of an impact. And usually the impact it will have will be to make the animals more sluggish. You know, if it's too cold, if it's too hot, it has a different type effect. But if it's too cold for the animal, it will make them sluggish. It'll probably make them more prone to disease. It'll weaken their immune system. And eventually, if you get far enough outside their range, they will die. They do need, a certain range that they can stay in. So if you're a couple of degrees off, or you've got an animal that can live in water that's 73, 74 degrees, and you've got it in a room temperature tank at 72, you're going to be fine. That fish is not going to be that stressed out over 1 or 2 degrees outside of what some website says is its, ideal range. So I just wanted to throw those 2 cents out there while I was thinking about it, and figured we'd have a little look at this tank. I'm trying to sit in front of this tank as much as I can and talk loudly in front of this tank as much as I can. Just to get the crabs used to my presence and my voice and the camera moving around in front of them, and eventually I'm sure they will be much more forthright and outgoing, and we'll get to see a lot more of them. Again, sorry about all of the water and everything on the glass. This tank is a little bit difficult to clean. I do have the spatula right here, and every morning I get in and I wipe down the inside of the glass, and I get on the lid and I wipe down the inside of the lid, because that is salty water. This is a brackish tank, and that salty water splashes all over the glass, and if it dries on there, if I leave the lid open for a while and the humidity comes down a little bit and it dries on, I get all that salt accretion on everything, and you can kind of see on the lid a little bit. You can sort of tell there's a little bit of salt accretion building up. So I have found that instead of wiping the glass with a paper towel, which just smears the salt around, using the squeegee actually, well, this is honestly, it's it's a cooking utensil, but it works very nicely as a silicone. It's nice and soft, gives me a good seal, and it works great as a squeegee, and it helps to keep the glass clean. So that's maybe a little tip if somebody hasn't tried that before. I thought it might work on a hunch, and I'm really pleased with the results. So maybe one day I'll get the camera set up on a tripod and I'll give a little demonstration of how easy I just wipe the glass down, and it comes out a lot better looking than when I actually wipe it with a squeegee. I mean, wipe it with a towel rather. So there's just my little look at my crab tank. That's probably what I'm going to wind up just calling this, is my crab tank, because that sounds a lot easier than my red-clawed mangrove crab tank. So make sure you're subscribed no matter what I call it. You don't want to miss any of the updates on this or any of my other tanks. So thanks again for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. See you real soon on the next one.